just before we were just about to start filming the book recommendation video, and this little baby toad just appeared from under the hearth. They must have been trying to, it's been bitterly cold here in Wales this week, and they must have been trying to find a frost-free place. But we're going to have to put them back outside because the cats will get them. We'll have to find a warm space, but we couldn't not share this. Look how cute they are. Oh, stay safe, little friend. Right, let's go.
Hello, chroeso, hello and welcome back to Katherine Cottage Diary.
We both, we must apologise in advance if we're a bit croaky. We've both got COVID. We're still feeling pretty rough from it, but we really wanted to share. People have been desperately asking us for some winter book recommendations, so we thought while we weren't able to go out and do anything that we would at least film these for you. So yeah, we've got, is it 7 books in total, Daisy?
Yeah, I think it's 7 books today that we've got. So everyone join us, cozy up around the fire, grab yourselves a drink, and we'll get started with some of our favourite winter reads.
Yeah. So can I dive in?
Yeah,
first?
Go for it.
So the first book that I would like to recommend is Fingersmith by Sarah Waters. So the reason I've chosen this is because it's set in Victorian London, which I immediately sort of in my head associate really with Charles Dickens and Sherlock Holmes and wintertime, and it does have very much a wintry feel. So it's set in 1862, and you follow the main protagonist, a young girl called Susan, who is an orphan and who lives in London with a gang of thieves. But we soon find out that her fate is intrinsically intertwined with another orphan who lives in a very sort of creepy mansion in the countryside. And the story unfolds and we realise what the connection is. And there's so many twists and turns in this book. It is really well paced, I think, and very gothic. So an absolutely cracking one to read. Yeah, you probably need to read this actually.
I'm pretty sure that there's been a film adaptation of
There is, yes. Yeah, I mean there's like a lesbian romance in it, and I think from what I've heard, the film sort of focuses
on their relationship
a lot on that. I mean, obviously that is very much a part of it, but there's also a lot more going on than that. It's a really, really good, gripping mystery.
Right, what's our next book?
Yeah, so the next one's another one of mine, and I mean, look at the cover, it's absolutely beautiful. Is that showing up, Daisy?
Right, that might help a bit to shield some of the light from it.
Can you hold it even closer?
Right, so The Wild Remedy.
Isn't it beautiful? So that's by Emma Mitchell. Now this isn't a novel, this is sort of a nature journal essentially. So Emma lives in a little cottage on the Cambridgeshire Fens, and for many years she suffered with depression. But as so many of us do find, the power of being outside in nature and following the seasons really does help lift your mood, and helps you gain some perspective, doesn't it? So that's basically what this is about. It does start, the book starts in October, but I always tend to read it. It just makes sense to me in my head that I like to start it in January and then see the sort of the spring, the year unfold from January. It's just beautiful. I'll just see if I can, she's done amazing photography and absolutely beautiful illustrations. So of course I can take. So that's the April page. So she has lots of sort of photos of the natural finds that she finds, you know, every month. Let me get another one. yeah, and as I say, her photography generally is beautiful. So that's beautiful illustration that she's done for June. It's so beautiful. So that's photography of all the wildflowers that she found in July. It's just lovely. It's just something that, I love that one. Isn't that gorgeous? Look.
All the little trinkets.
Yeah.
We've done something similar, haven't we? We have that years of have a little printing press with all that.
Yeah, we do. So yeah, it's just beautiful. You know, just read every month. You know, every month it's a joy to just pick up, go to the month, and I mean, if I would say though, you know, if you do suffer from mental health issues, I don't know if some of it would be triggering, because she is very, very honest about her struggles, and even though nature most definitely helps her, it isn't a complete fix for her, and she does still find it very challenging. So I think it only best that I do mention that. But yeah, if you're somebody like me that gains so much perspective and optimism from the natural world, then I think you will probably really enjoy that. What's next?
I think the next one is
one
a
of yours.
children's book that I've loved this author ever since I was a child, and I do like to revisit this children's book every once in a while, especially at this time of year. So it's The Wolf Wilder by Katherine Rundell. Katherine Rundell does absolutely beautiful children's books. She has a really lyrical literary style, and her descriptions are just amazing. So having this book set in a snowy cabin in Russia in the winter time is, I think, the perfect book for January and the rest of winter. So
excuse me.
Yeah, I just couldn't recommend it highly enough. It was really cozy when I first read it, and revisiting it now as an adult, I still get a lot of enjoyment from it. I don't think you've read this one,
No,
have you?
I haven't. I don't. Oh no, I have. Yeah, but years ago.
When I was
It's where
still a
she's
child.
sort of in charge of looking after the wolves.
Yeah,
yes.
She's in charge of looking after. So now I'll just go and read the blurb. So, Fedora and her mother live in the snowbound woods of Russia, where their closest neighbours are wolves. Theo's mother is a wolf wilder, and Theo is a wolf wilder in training. Like the wolves, Theo has learned to be wary of humans, even before the soldiers arrive with their guns and threats. And when the soldiers do their worst, she goes on the run with just a fugitive boy and her wolves for company, to rescue her mother and to save her pack. So it's a lovely children's book. I'd highly recommend it if you have children, or if you just enjoy a little bit of light escapism. It's
And again, snowy Russia is so lovely to read at this time.
You can't go wrong, really. So that's the next one of mine. What have you got done?
And then I've got The Woods in Winter by Stella Gibbons. You may be familiar with Stella Gibbons. Got a very famous book, Cold Comfort Farm. So some of you may have read that. This is actually the last novel that she ever wrote before she died. I really love this novel. It's probably got one of my favourite heroines in from a novel. So it basically follows the tale of Ivy Gover, who is a middle-aged cleaner living in a rented flat in London. I would guess sort of in the 1920s, that sort of time, when she suddenly discovers that her uncle has left her the tenancy on an old cottage in the countryside, which she's immediately thrilled about. She's very much an introvert, and really doesn't particularly want to bother with people. So anyway, her and a dog that she rescues goes and lives in this cottage, and lives sort of very eccentrically, where she welcomes in all the beetles and wasps to come and and mice and things to come and have nests in her cottage, but is decidedly unfriendly with any humans that want to approach. But despite that, she manages, there's something about her, she's just a very honest and, to me, very appealing and interesting character. I love the fact that she loves animals and loves nature. I can also very much relate to her need to disengage from the human world occasionally. She's just a brilliant character, and there's it's implied that she's of Romany descent, so from of gypsy descent, and that has some sort of magical sort of witchy abilities. Certainly she can communicate with animals. So it's very touching. It's also very humorous. There's also sort of some black humour, as you would expect from Stella Gibbons if you've read her work. But yeah, despite her not really wanting to engage with other humans, she actually does sort of influence the other humans that are living in the local environment. So I really love it. I find it incredibly poignant. So yeah, I would definitely recommend it. And of course, as the title suggests, it does start off in the winter.
That's not one I've tried so far. I'm convinced now.
Yeah, I really love Ivy. I think she's brilliant. So the next book is also mine. Completely different. This is called The Witches of St Petersburg by Imogen Edwards-Jones. And this is based, I'm assuming quite loosely based, because it's magical realism, but based on two princesses, Militsa and Anastasia of Montenegro, who end up marrying sort of they were royalty in Montenegro, but then they marry Russian royalty, so they're sort of loosely part of the sort of the Romanov family. And yeah, just talking about sort of the magic that they do, but also the sort of the drama and intrigue. It's sort of in the I think it starts off sort of late Victorian, early Edwardian period, just as sort of things are starting to take a decidedly bad turn for the Russian aristocracy. So it's basically it in part it's sort of chartering the downfall of the Romanov dynasty, but also there's this magical realism. So if you know anything about that time period, there's of course the famous Rasputin, the priest, monk, whatever you want to call him, that seemed to have such a hold over the Romanovs, and who was purportedly almost impossible to kill. Was it 5 ways that they tried to kill him or something? I can't remember. But basically the princesses in this are meant to have sort of magical abilities. They do sort of spell work, and it's sort of implied that Rasputin was actually a sort of golem that they created.
That's so interesting.
To be able to sort of manipulate the court and to get things their way. But of course, Rasputin very much had a mind of his own, and was, whether they created him or not, he very much had his own agenda. And yeah, it's just really interesting, this sort of, they've melded sort of obviously actual historical things and historical characters with sort of this magical sort of magical line running through it. So so they basically put at the back here, it's a story of love, lust, power and betrayal. It is a little bit spicy in places, but yeah, it's a really, really fascinating. And again, you know, it's Russia, so it's always lovely to hear sort of descriptions of Russia in the winter time, and particularly of all that sort of splendour and the palaces and things. And yeah, really, really good. I enjoyed it.
So this is the last book in our list for today.
And it's called A Laetitia Rod Mystery, The Secrets of Wishtide by the wonderful Kate Saunders. So if any of you have got children, I wonder if you've read any of Kate Saunders' children's books.
She was our favourite.
Oh, she's absolutely amazing. All her books have got a mixture of humour and magic. They're just absolutely delightful, aren't they? I mean, I loved reading them. You know, I was almost begging Daisy that we would read them.
Usually it's me begging for a bedtime story as a child, but it was you.
I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait for bedtime so that we would read another instalment. Yeah, she's an absolutely brilliant writer, and we had the pleasure of meeting her a few years ago when you were about 10.
Yeah, we went to Hay on Wye Book Festival, which is an amazing book festival just on the Welsh-English border.
Oh, yeah, she's a really, really good writer. So as well as recommending this book, we're going to generally recommend, if you've got children, grandchildren, nieces or nephews, whoever, you can't go wrong.
Children's literature.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with reading a Kate Saunders book. They're just brilliantly written. And also, they're not... What I loved about it, because obviously when you're reading as an adult, sometimes you're like, oh gosh, this is excruciating. But she doesn't talk down to children. She uses proper words, and it's engaging. It's just, she's beautifully written, as it should be, because I can't remember, one author wrote that actually you should save your best work for children, because children are actually very critical. You know, if they don't like a book, then they're not going to carry on and read it. So and she does definitely have that attitude, because her writing for children is brilliant. Anyway, so this book is again set in Victorian London, and on the back it says, a Dickensian glow pervades this immensely satisfying novel. And that was the person that wrote the Grantchester Mysteries, if you know that. So this is basically, it follows the life, doesn't it, of Laetitia.
Yes.
Who lives in Hampstead, which is actually where I lived for a period in the 1990s when I left Wales and moved to London for a few years. So I know the area very well. So she's basically a middle-aged widow who doesn't have a lot of money. She's lodging with an old woman, but her brother is a barrister, isn't he?
And then he introduces her to this strange man who's like, oh, come with me to my country estate is in Lincolnshire, so rural England. And so they go off and she pretends to be his governor, or a governess for his children. And
he's asked her, hasn't he, to investigate his son's fiancée, because he feels that possibly she's either just out for his money or has some sort of dark past. But while she's in Lincolnshire, she actually discovers that the family itself have got lots of dark secrets. So it's really good. So partly set in London, Victorian London, partly set in a big house in the country in England. So it's got all the makings of something that you want to cozy down with and read. It's very engaging, as you'd expect from Kate Saunders. There's also some humour in it as well. So it's a great one. So we hope you've enjoyed the selection that we've got for you. Thank you so much to those of you that have taken the time and trouble to message us and let us know that you've read some of the books that we recommended in the autumn book video. It's just lovely of you to let us know. It's so nice to have conversations with you all, and to know that those of you that have read those books have enjoyed them. In fact, some of you have read some of the books that I haven't got round to reading yet, because I had quite an ambitious list. So yeah, we really loved that. So again, if any of you decide to read any of these books, we're absolutely delighted if you get in touch with us and have a little conversation about how you found them.
Yeah, talking about books is one of our favourite things to do. So.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. As always, please like and subscribe, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye for now.
Bye.